Hello, welcome. This could potentially be a long one, so I hope that you'll sit back, relax, and we can have a chat and you can listen to my online dating experience. I wasn't completely sure if I wanted to do this video because, to be honest, it's slightly embarrassing for me, and I just am kind of making myself a bit more vulnerable than I usually do in videos. So I wasn't sure I was ever going to do it, but some of you requested that I record it, so here I am attempting to do it for you. But it also means that for the first time ever, I'm having a glass of wine on camera. I think I've done it in vlogs, but not for a sit-down video. But it just felt appropriate for this particular video because of the fact that I'm nervous. Plus, I thought it could be like we're sitting down to have a girl chat or have a chat with one another. You know, girlfriends, friends, whatever, however you want to look at it. So, cheers. Whether you have water, coffee, or whatever, doesn't matter. Cheers. And let me take you through my online dating journey. I've made some notes because otherwise I would not remember what I want to tell you. My hope is that this will be helpful to others who may be in a similar situation as I was. So in January 2021, I decided to try online dating. I've never been a super outgoing person, and with COVID and everything, I really didn't know how else to meet people. This was the first and only time I did online dating in my entire life. I never had experience with it when I was younger, so this was a first. I had a friend who had done it and encouraged me to try it, so I said, why not? I'll give it a shot. Now, I'm not someone who was looking for a hookup or to just have a fling. I really was in it to hopefully make a connection with someone that would turn into a relationship, because that's just the type of person I am. I'm a relationship person, not someone that is looking to date around a bunch of different people and have a fling. So I did a little bit of research, and from what I could tell, eharmony was the place where a lot of people were looking for serious relationships, so that's where I started. I will say, just in general, online dating is not easy. I became very discouraged and frustrated at times. People ignore you, they are rude, they ask you inappropriate things, and I don't even mean like after having some sort of conversation with you. They just come right out and ask you inappropriate things. And they waste your time. And me being someone who likes to think that they have good manners and was brought up to be respectful, that was a bit of a hard pill for me to swallow, the fact that people were so rude and inconsiderate. Just getting someone to have a text conversation with you was a challenge. Sometimes it felt like pulling teeth to get people to respond or to give something back other than one-word answers. I just kind of went into it looking at it as, I'm going to treat it like an experiment and kind of see how things will go and try not to take it too seriously or personally. Of course, that's easier said than done. So through eharmony in January, I had my first video chat with someone. And I'm not going to say any names because I don't think it's necessary. I also don't think it's really nice or fair to do to those people, so everyone shall remain nameless. On that first video call, we had good conversation, but I didn't feel any sort of connection other than maybe a friendship connection. And they weren't looking for friendship, obviously. They were looking for a relationship, which was completely understandable. Throughout this whole process, I knew I wanted to show the same respect to people that I hoped people would show to me. And while I oftentimes didn't get that, or people didn't show that to me, I still wanted to treat people how I hoped to be treated. So I did let him know that's how I felt because I didn't want to lead him on or waste his time. Jump to February, I started talking with someone else. We seemed to hit it off and talked on the phone, video chatted, all of that. The only thing was he was very religious, and I don't say that because I'm not trying to put down anyone's religion or discount anyone's religion at all. That's not what I'm saying. I personally am not a super religious person, at least when it comes to organized religion. And I wasn't at all involved in this person's particular specific religion. He seemed like he really wanted to be with someone that was of the same faith as him. But he ended up asking me on a date right around Valentine's Day. I said yes because I figured you need to meet someone in person to really find out if you have a connection with them. And he canceled the date a couple of days before it was supposed to happen. Because I couldn't promise him that I would convert to his religion, and he was uncomfortable with the idea of even going any further and pursuing something with someone who wasn't of his religion. I was upset at the time because it was disappointing, because I had gotten excited about going on this date and now it was canceled over something that wasn't really anything to do with me personally or my fault. It was just kind of the way it was. So that's how I felt at the time, but looking back, I know it was for the best. But after that, I was discouraged and took a small break from online dating. It is definitely a roller coaster ride. That's the best way I can describe it, because it really does mess with your emotions and self-confidence, and it is an up and down of, oh, someone matched with me. Oh, someone is talking with me. Oh, they asked me on a date. Hi, making you feel good to someone ignored me or someone canceled, and then you're going back down. So it's definitely that up and down feeling a lot of the time. So at this point, I was feeling like maybe eHarmony wasn't working the best for me. I found it hard to match and connect with people just based on the way that they have their site set up. So I decided to also give Match a try and see if I had more success on that one. For those who aren't familiar with the online dating apps, they all work a little bit differently as far as how you can search, how you can connect with people, who will be in your search parameters. And so with Match, it gave you a little bit more freedom of who you could search for and how you could find people, so you could kind of broaden your search a little bit, where eHarmony, it was like only within their compatibility score, and if it didn't fit in that score, you couldn't even see the people. I know it probably sounds complicated and confusing, but bottom line was Match allowed me more freedom to find a more variety of people. After not much success on there, I heard about Facebook dating. That one was free, so I said, because the others I had to pay for, but Facebook was free. So I said, free? Why not give it a try? What harm could it do? Little did I know. First, let me say, if I can caution you against anything, never use Facebook dating. Yes, it's free and it may be tempting, but part of the reason those other ones are paid is for your safety. So please don't use Facebook dating if you are pursuing that right now. Second, I feel like I have to preface this next part by saying I'm an extremely trusting person. I'm also somewhat gullible at times, and I always want to see the best in people and think the best of people. And again, just a reminder, I had no online dating experience before this and was unaware of that world. Now, this next part I'm going to tell you might sound ridiculous to some of you, and you may think dumb even, but this is my experience and the way it happened. As soon as I started using Facebook dating, I felt like it was giving me better results than the other sites I had used. I was getting responses more quickly and just more likes and things like that. Eventually, one guy messaged me and we started talking. He told me both his parents died and he had been on his own since 18. And at the time, this seemed tragic to me, but also like something that was possible, because I've heard of people losing both of their parents. Now, this person had about 5 pictures on their profile, and while attractive, it wasn't as though they were super out of my league or anything. As we chatted some more, I found out that they were in the Air Force and were currently stationed overseas in West Africa. So they would be away for a few more months. Now, I know right now a lot of you are probably saying, red flags, but again, I had no idea at the time. I asked them about their past relationships, and they told me their ex cheated on them with their friend and got pregnant by the friend. Now at the time, I thought, that's terrible, and this person has awful luck. A lot of things I probably should have picked up on, I didn't until after the fact. And then kind of after the fact, as I looked at everything, it all made a lot of sense, and I didn't know how I didn't see it sooner. But let me continue with the story. He wouldn't give me a lot of specifics as far as answers to my questions. At one point, I asked for pictures that weren't on his profile. Like, for example, he told me he had a dog, so I asked for a picture of him and his dog, and he sent it to me. At another point, I asked if we could video chat, because to me, that's the logical next step once you've been talking to somebody, especially if you cannot meet them in person since they are far away. And he said for security, the military wouldn't allow him to. I do want to say that for safety, I never gave out my real phone number. I used a Google phone number, which you can get for free, and that was what I was able to use with WhatsApp or whatever people requested to chat on. I did that because I know people can gain a lot of information from your phone number, so I didn't want to just give it out to everybody that I talked to, because once you have somebody's phone number, I mean, you can find out where they live and lots of other stuff about them. So if you are online dating, I would recommend that to you, that you get one of those Google phone numbers and give that out to people so that people don't have your real phone number, because they can't get any information about you from that Google phone number. One thing that I didn't think about at the time was that he was really busy with his military job, but yet had all this free time to text me. So after a little bit more time, I started to not get a very good feeling, especially not being able to talk on video chat or verify his identity. I asked if he could at least talk on the phone, and he said he had to get permission from his supervisor, and that I would have to be added to a list of approved people, and that in order to do that, or I followed up and asked, well, how do I do that? How do I get on that list, to get permission? And he said you'll know when the time comes. Basically, from what I gathered at the time, he was implying that I had to be like a family member or married to him to get on this list. At this point, I'm feeling more and more uneasy, like something isn't right here. Always trust your gut. If I learned anything, it's that. I asked him when his return home date was, like to return home from Africa to the US, and after some waiting and having to ask him again, he said that he would have to check to find out the date, and he didn't know. And that didn't make sense to me, because I would think he would know, or at least have an idea, like, oh, it's supposed to be in 3 months, or it's supposed to be in April, if he doesn't know an exact date, but he didn't have any information to offer. Then I asked if he had Instagram, because, at this point I'm trying to find more about this person, because I'm getting this weird feeling and I want to see more about them and if they're real. So I asked if he had Instagram, and he said yes, but he's not very active on it, and it's a private account. And that was all there was to it. So after feeling more and more uneasy and just uncertain about this whole thing, and my gut telling me something was off, he asked maybe a couple days later, if I could do him a favor on my way to work. Could I get him a gift card? I said, why? And he said so he could download songs and an app to his phone. I said, what kind of a gift card? And he said, Apple. I will say I had no intention of buying him a gift card, because that immediately sent up all the flags, and the fact that it just seemed odd he would be asking, and I wasn't going to send any sort of monetary, whether it be gift card or real money, to someone I've never even seen in real life. But I don't know why I didn't just give up at this point, if it's like human nature or what, but I kept wanting to kind of confirm my suspicions and not necessarily have that gotcha moment, but I don't know, I was just trying to make it definitive in my head, even though it should have already been by this point. So I started to question him a little bit more about friends and things he had told me about, and his stories weren't matching up. They were conflicting with things he had told me before. Then he said he knew what I was thinking, because at one time he was a psychologist, even though he had told me he had been in the military since he was 18. So when he had time to become a psychologist, that was who knows. So that was when I knew for sure that I had been catfished and he was a fake. So at this point, I immediately closed the Facebook dating account and reported his account to Facebook as fraud and a fake account and using someone else's image and all of that. Well, Facebook did absolutely nothing and contacted me back and said that they had no evidence of it being a fake account, and so it remained open. Thanks a lot, Facebook. Super helpful on protecting people. So after this and after doing a little bit more research, evidently this is a known thing that I didn't know about for some reason, where people in Africa pretend to be military or doctors overseas to get money from women. It's apparently an ongoing scam that happens all the time, but is very hard to prosecute because they are in Africa, and it's hard to catch them because I don't know all those specifics, but they bounce around their location and there's just so many of them. So I think it's important to get awareness out there about this, because while it may seem like everybody knows, I didn't know at the time, and now I do, and I'm amazed I didn't, but I feel like there's probably still a lot of people out there that, unless they are pursuing online dating or have seen a story about it or someone has told them or something, they wouldn't know either. So I definitely think it needs to be shared more and publicized more, and hopefully people listen to their guts and don't give these people money, because it's not good. So after taking another small break after that happened, I matched with someone else on Match again. It started out with him reaching out to me with a very nice message, and we chatted and seemed to hit it off and have a lot in common. We ended up talking on the phone and video chatting, and we would text back and forth every day. He kept saying he wanted to see me and meet in person, and that we would meet in person soon, but he never made definitive plans. And whenever I would ask him to make plans, he said he had to work or go to his parents, which wasn't a lie, but we talked for a month every day, and he couldn't find time in that month to fit me in. And I know that people make time for what's important to them. Well, he seemed very genuine when we would talk, and I don't think he had bad intentions. I'll admit I did get a little bit attached, just because when you're talking to someone every day and you feel like you're hitting it off with them, that tends to happen. We still hadn't met in person. So finally I thought, it's been a month. If it hasn't happened now, I doubt it's going to happen, and I can't keep doing this. I don't have time to just be waiting around. So I asked him, what do you want out of this, and where do you see it going? And he said he needed to take the day to think about it, so I gave him that. He came back later that day and said that after a lot of soul searching, he didn't feel a spark, and he saw me as just a friend. Yet he had been treating me like more than a friend. So I said that to him. I kind of called him out on that. Like, well, that's all well and good, but you haven't exactly been giving off friend vibes. You've been kind of acting like more than that. And his response was that he didn't realize until that day, and until he had really thought about it and done some deep soul searching. I personally, this is just my opinion, don't think he was ready for a relationship, or maybe he didn't realize it at the time, but I did kind of feel like he strung me along. Now we come to the end of March, where I matched with one of the more confusing ones in my story. So very early on, he would call and text me, and also told me how nobody on dating apps wants a relationship. After talking on the phone, he told me he thought my voice was beautiful, and he also wanted selfies of me, and not just one, like often, and was kind of pushy about it. So, bottom line, he came on a little strong right from the get-go, and was a little insistent. Then, nothing. Crickets. I never heard from him again. So, I guess he ghosted me. which, if he had seemed uninterested, would kind of make sense to me, but to be that strong right off and then just completely drop away and never respond or talk again just seems odd to me. So I didn't get it, and I don't understand why people waste your time like that. But luckily, this journey has a happy ending. Otherwise, I would definitely not be doing this video. The beginning of April, I matched with James. From day one, we had great text conversations, and he was already making me laugh. And when someone can make you laugh through text message, I think that says a lot. We had our first date virtually to make sure that we were comfortable with each other and wanted to keep pursuing things before meeting in person. And even though it was virtual, it was technically our first date, so he brought me pink roses, which made a great first impression. And if I remember correctly, on that first video call, we talked for close to, if not beyond, 3 hours. He planned our first in-person date, and it was wonderful. While I was nervous, understandably, as I've never really dated much, and this was the first date in a very long time, I immediately felt comfortable with him. He's kind, caring, sweet, fun to be with, funny, patient, and so much more. We've talked every single day since that first day we matched. While we may not get to see each other in person as often as we like, we know that day will come. And we enjoy what time we do have together. Also, James and I met on Match in case that got lost in the story. So that was the one that was ultimately successful and where we first connected. But I hope that hearing about my journey has been helpful to you. I know everyone's experience is different, and mine ended well, but getting there was rough at times. It can be very discouraging and frustrating, but nothing will happen if you don't keep trying. And maybe some of you who are pursuing this are okay with that, and I think it's okay to take breaks. I don't think you need that to be fulfilled or happy, but what I mean by that is just that if you never put yourself out there and never try, it's not gonna, well, maybe it'll randomly happen on the street, but your odds I don't think are as good. But all those experiences also taught me something. While they were difficult and even hurtful at the time, they did teach me something, and I think I grew from all of it. But it also helped me appreciate and recognize a really good man when I found one. But ultimately, I would say be yourself, be honest and respectful, even if you aren't always getting that in return. Trust your gut and look out for red flags. And yeah, I guess that's all the advice I would have for anybody that is pursuing or thinking about pursuing online dating. And this was definitely a different sort of video for me. Once I got going, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, which is good, but I also don't think hopefully it was as long as I thought it was going to be. I have to say the preparation for it and trying to get all the thoughts together was a long process, so that's why I was thinking recording it was going to be long, but hopefully it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And hopefully you enjoyed it and got something out of it. And if this is the first video of mine that you're ever seeing, hello, welcome. I'm glad that you found my channel. I do all kinds of different things here as just a fun hobby because I enjoy it. From baking videos to vlogs to empties, beauty videos, all kinds of stuff. Oh, and Disney videos too. So if you found me for the first time, hello. I hope that you'll subscribe and stick around for more content. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or got something out of it. I would love to hear your feedback in the comments of this one because it was outside my comfort zone and I have a slight bit of fear of being judged. I don't know why. I mean, I put myself on the internet all the time and don't think about that, but I guess this was just a little bit of a different one, and hope that it goes over well. But I would like to hear your feedback, which will hopefully be positive and constructive. That's it. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.